Good evening,
Good evening,
everyone.
Ross. Good
How's it?
evening. How are you?
How's everyone?
We're all fine, thank God. We're all fine.
Yeah,
How are
how's
you
it?
doing?
Baruch Hashem, Yom Yom, we're all feeling well, thanks God. Baruch Hashem, we're trying to keep ourselves safe. We're trying to keep ourselves as happy that we can in those situations, those difficult situations. Trying to do our best.
Good.
How are you guys doing? Is everyone well?
Yeah, I don't know how it's everybody in Israel. I hope they're all well.
Be'ezrat Hashem, everyone well. Yeah, the numbers is a bit escalating there with the corona. Be'ezrat Hashem, it will be okay. It will be okay.
Yes, Hashem. Yes, Hashem.
Yeah. How are you all doing? Is everyone well at home?
By me, yes, thank God. Everybody's well. My children are fine. My grandchildren are fine.
Yom Yom.
What more can I ask?
There's nothing else to ask. Much better than that. Briut.
Right.
Nothing better than Briut. Briut is health. What else can a person? Briut and Shalva. Shalvat HaNefesh. Peace and harmony. Just for more people to join us, waiting for more people, and then we'll start the show. Be'ezrat Hashem. Who else with us? I see that Jones with us. Hello, Jones. Orna with us. Hello, Orna. Hello, Stephen. It's very nice to see you. We're just waiting for a few more people to join us, and then we'll start the show. We just. Stephen, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'll hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, now, okay. So, first of all, before we start the show, Rabotai, I would like to delegate that show especially to our friend Errol, Israel Ben Zisa, Errol Mendel. Just to give you a bit of an update what's happening with Errol. Errol had the operation yesterday. I heard from Norman and from Brenda, the sister, that Baruch Hashem, the doctor managed to take the tumor. It took a bit more time than they was expecting, but Baruch Hashem, doing okay. So Be'ezrat Hashem, great refuah shlema to our friend Israel Ben Zisa El Narefanala. A matter of fact, we're going to do Misheberach for Errol. Misheberach, Avotenu Avraham, Yitzhak veYaakov, Moshe veAaron, David uShlomo. הוא יברך וירפא את ישראל בן זיסה, שהקדוש ברוך הוא ישלח לו רפואה שלמה ברמה חבריו, שישא גידיו, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. אל נא רפא נא. Please God, רפואה שלמה, and return back healthy, בריא ושלם, ברמה חבריו, שישא גידיו, לביתו שמח ורענן. אמן כן יהי רצון. I also would like to...
Amen.
Thank you. I would like to dedicate the show לעילוי נשמת אסתר קדן בת קציה, מרדכי בן רחמה, הרב אברהם חיים בן אליעזר יעקב, תמר בת זהבה, רחל בת מלכה סולטנה, יעקב סלומון בן פרחה, דבורה רות בת בילה. נשמתם תהיה צרורה בצור החיים, ולרפואת ויסי ישראל בן זיסה, ליאור בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פרחה, אורנה בלומה בת מרים, הרב אברהם בן מרינה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, הרב משה בן דבורה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, משה בן יהודית, יוסף בן אסתר, חנה שרה בת דבורה, דבורה בת אסתר, שלמה פנחס בן שי נפישה, וחונה טוביה בן חיים שאול זליג, ושושנה בת דבורה. Please God, רפואה שלמה to them and to כל חולי ופצועי עמו בית ישראל בכל מקום שהם. We'd like to start the show, בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירביע. The subject of the show, obviously you all know Parashat השבוע. I'm going to start muting everyone. I'm going to mute everyone. No, everyone is muted. Okay, Louis, you're the only one that unmuted, so it's okay. So what's happening? I just want to make sure that everyone muted. Yeah, everyone is muted. 1 second. Mute everyone. Yeah, everyone is muted. Yeah. Okay. So רבותיי, פרשת השבוע, כי תצא למלחמה. What does it mean? We'll do, as we usually do, introduction. The introduction to the parsha start like this. At the beginning of the parsha, the Torah speak about the way that the Torah allowed a person that joined to a war, to marry a Gentile woman. And there is certain way that he have to do. The Torah explain if he really have the desire for her, what he must do and how he can take her as a wife. Later on, the Torah continue and speak about the law of inheritance. And the Torah there explain that the firstborn always obligated to get double, even if the firstborn is the son of the woman that he doesn't like, Hasenua. Later on, after that, the Torah speak about the rebellious son. The rebellious son, it's a complicated situation. We spoke about it in previous parashot before. It's a son that actually, lo alenu, left the Torah way. As a matter of fact, he doesn't listen to his father, doesn't listen to his mother, and he's stealing there, Hazal say in the Gemara, in Masechet Sanhedrin, that a rebellious son, it's a son that's stealing Trilesar Basar. What it means? It's 200, a quarter of a kilo of eating quarter of a kilo of meat, and he's stealing the money, and he's drinking log wine, certain amount of wine, and he have to be in the age of 13, maximum to the age of 13 and 3 months. That's the rebellious son. After that, the Torah speak about the law that we're not allowed to leave a body hanging and not bury. That means that we have a positive command to bury a body or a deceased. After that, the Torah speak about the law that if we see the donkey of our friend, that means the load is too heavy and he collapses, to help that person to offload the load of the donkey. Then we have different mitzvot. There's quite a bit of mitzvot in Parashat Ki Teitze, and the Torah speak about the law that a woman not allowed to wear a man clothes and a man not allowed to wear woman clothes. After that, the Torah speak about mitzvat shiluach haken, sending the mother birds. We're going to speak about it in a shiur. Then we have a different mitzvah, mitzvat ma'akeh, that means to build where there is a danger, to build a balustrade or a fence. After that, the Torah tell us that there is a negative command from the Torah that the person not allowed to take interest. That means if he lend money, not allowed to take interest. Then tashlume nedarim, that if a person took an oath, obligate to fulfill his oath. Then the law of Lashon Hara, we speak also about Lashon Hara today. Then we have a different mitzvah that the Torah speak about, to pay your workers on time. Then we have mitzvat yibum. Everyone, I hope that understand what is a yibum. Yibum, I'll explain that briefly, that if there is two brothers, and the one brother, both of the brother married, and one of them die before the wife have kids, the other brother obligated to take, even if he's not married, to marry the wife of the brother that the deceased that die if he doesn't have kids, only if he doesn't have kids. Then the Torah speak about mitzvah tzitzit, the law of doing tzitzit, and the end of the parsha, right in the end, the Torah given us the final mitzvah, that it's a positive command from the Torah to destroy the descendants of Amalek. In Parashat Ki Teitze, we have 27 positive command and 47 negative command. That's Parashat Ki Teitze. Now we're going to start the show. Be'ezrat Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach, v'Hashem alenu berachama v'yarviach. And the parsha starts like this: Ki tetzeh lamilchama al oivecha, v'netano Adonai Elohecha beyadecha v'shavita shivyo.
When you will go out to war against your enemy, and Hashem your God will deliver him into your hands, and you will capture his captivity.
Okay, here the Torah tell us that when a person go to a war, and in the previous year, we explained all different ideas about what it means, Teitze milchama. We explained that, as Rashi bring and the Mefarshim bring, that a matter of fact is speaking about the Yetzer Hara, that you're fighting the evil inclination. But today, I want to do with you something different. It's a Ki Teitze milchama. And the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, born in the city of Jerusalem 297 years ago. He say, if you take the Rashi Tevot, the acronym of the first 5 words, Ki Teitze milchama al oivecha, he say, if you take the acronym of them, you'll see something very interesting. You see that it brings you the word ohalecha. What it means, ohalecha? It's to teach us something very important. Ohalecha is a tent. In the olden days, a tent used to be like a house. But what's the idea behind it? And said the Gaon Hida something extraordinary. The Gaon Hida said in his book Homat Anach, that's one of the books that he wrote, just to tell you that the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, wrote most of his book on the organ of the body. And here he explained something very important. He said that here the Torah actually hinting to us, by that it say, Ki Teitze milchama al oivecha, that the acronym, the Rashi Tevot of it is ohalecha. It's come to teach us something very important. To tell us that the merit of those that sit in a tent, that what does it mean sitting in a tent? Those that sitting and learning Torah. The merit of them and the merit of those people that sitting and studying Torah, that's how the Jewish people win in a war. And he said like this, and he bring actually the verse in the Gemara in Masechet Makot in page 90, in page 10, folio 1, there Hazal tell us the verse. And it said there, Hazal actually bringing the verse of David HaMelech in Sefer Tehillim. In Sefer Tehillim in chapter 122, verse 2. Omdot hayu raglenu bish'araich Yerushalayim. That means that here it said that we're standing in a gate of Jerusalem. It's referring to the soldier, that the soldier standing in the gate to defend the gate. That means surrounding the wall of Jerusalem to defend the wall of Jerusalem. And we have to understand what is it to mean. And Hazal explained there in the Gemara in Masechet Sota, in page 21, folio 1, Hazal explained that in the merit of those that studying Torah, those that sit in a yeshiva and studying Torah, okay, in the merit of them, that's what protect the Jewish people from the enemy and help them to win the war. But Hazal have to tell us also something very important. Hazal tell us the same, like those that study Torah protect the Jewish people from the enemy. It's come to tell you that that's on a physical. But Hazal come and tell us that a person that study Torah, it's also help. When I say help, it means that helping him and saving him from Yetzer Hara. And Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Baba Batra, in page 16, folio 1, Barati Yetzer Hara, Barati lo Torat Tavlin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, and Hazal bringing it in the Gemara in Masechet Baba Batra, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the evil inclination. What it means, evil inclination? Everyone knows that's the Satan, Hu Malach HaMavet, Hu HaSatan, Hu Yetzer Hara. That's what Hazal tell us in the Gemara. But we have to understand that what it said be'oalecha, it's come to tell you that people that sitting and studying Torah, the Torah that they're studying not only protect them physically, also spiritually. That means that the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, always entice the human being to do avarot. That's his job. That's what he been created. And the Yetzer Hara born with the human being from the day that he born until he died. And we can't get rid of him. There's certain people that manage to destroy him, like David HaMelech, that he say, "V'halal b'kirbi." That means that he managed to destroy the Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara can't do nothing to it. And Chazal come and tell us, by that you're studying Torah, person that study Torah, okay, what did happen? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, "Barati Yetzer Hara." I created the Yetzer Hara, but I created a medicine for him. The same like I created the Yetzer Hara, I created the answer to him. What is the medicine for Yetzer Hara? It's Limud Torah. When a person learn Torah, the Yetzer Hara have no control over him. Chazal explained why. Because Yetzer Hara is like fire. And the Torah considers fire. And he can't take it. So immediately he leaves the human being. And Chazal say in a Gemara, in Masechet Sukkah, in page 52, folio 2. Chazal in a Gemara giving us an idea. What's happened if a person starting to feel that the Yetzer Hara actually overcoming him? That's starting to entice him. The Yetzer Hara can overcome him. Chazal say in the Gemara in Masechet, remember Sukkah, page 52, folio 2. Im paga becha menuval ze, moshcheu lebet hamidrash. What does it mean? If a person see that the Yetzer Hara actually entice him, and as a matter of fact, he's overcome him, and he can't stop from doing averot, and although that he doesn't want, there's one answer. What is he must do? Moshcheu lebet hamidrash. Im paga mecha menuval ze. Menuval, in Hebrew, it's, I don't know how to say it in English, but menuval means a horrible person, okay? Not a straightforward person. If you see that the Yetzer Hara overcome you, there is one thing that you can do to overcome him. Moshcheu lebet hamidrash. Go to Bet HaMidrash. But Chazal say not just to go to Bet HaMidrash, to sit in Bet HaMidrash and you think that the evil inclination will leave you. No. You go to Bet HaMidrash and you study Torah. When you go to Bet HaMidrash and you study Torah, the Yetzer Hara, the Satan can't talk to you. Immediately he leave you. But the Maharhu, Rabbi Chaim Vital, born in the city of Tzfat in Eretz Israel, he born 479 years ago. And he asked the question, why does it say, Ki teitze lamilchama? When you go to a war, it should say, when you're going to fight with your enemy. It says here, Ki teitze lamilchama lo ovecha. When you go to a war against your enemy. Why it say when? You should say, when you're fighting a war against your enemy. No, the Torah doesn't tell us. And we have to understand why the Torah used the word Ki teitze, when you go into a war. Said the Maharhu, that we have to understand that here the Torah telling us Ki teitze lamilchama. Why does the Torah tell us Ki teitze lamilchama? To teach us very important idea. The Maharhu said that the Torah come to teach us a fundamental idea that every Jew have to understand that when we go into a war, we just have to go to a war. We don't have to fight. Although that physically it looks like we're fighting a war, spiritually we don't fight a war. What's happening? Let me explain. Because what I'm saying, it doesn't make sense. I know that doesn't make sense, but I will explain it. When the Jewish people go to a war, every war that the Jewish people ever fought, every war that the Jewish people have to fight, it wasn't, the victory didn't come because of them. And I just want to remind you war that we know. Obviously, I'm not speaking about Mitzrayim because everyone's going to say, listen, it was a miracle that everyone see. But if we take the war that you and me, we all know, the Milchemet HaAtasha, the 6-day war, the Yom Kippur war, every war that the Jewish people was, and after that Milchemet Lebanon, the war of Lebanon, the war in Gaza, all the situation that the Jewish people have to face with every war, the odds show that we're not going to win the war. For the 6-day war, no one believed that anyone going to come out from Eretz Israel. Everyone was thinking that the war with Israel is finished. It's finished. You have to understand, say the Mahachu. It's a kititze lamilchama. When you go into a war, you just go into a war. You're not fighting. So many people will say, so who's fighting? Chazal tell us in Parashat, in Sefer Shmot, in Parashat Beshalach, in chapter 14, verse 14, say something very interesting. Hashem ilachem lachem ve'atem taharishun. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu will fight for you and you don't have to do nothing. And Rabotai, all of you remember the 6-day war. All of you remember Milchemet Yom HaKippurim. The miracle that happened in Milchemet Sheshet HaYamim, the 6-day war, no one can deny. The stress that was in Eretz Israel, the stress that was in the diaspora, when the French government, and that time was de Gaulle, that he stopped supplying the Jewish people what he promised, the mirage, Israel didn't have a chance because the 3 nations, Syria, Egypt, and Jordan, the weapon that they got, the airplane, the MiGs that they got from Russia, Israel didn't have a chance. The Milchemet Yom Kippur, the Yom Kippur War, the element of surprise that they caught us. What chance the Jewish people have fasting? But dafka because we was fasting, dafka because we wasn't eating, because we wasn't drinking, because we was all there in the shul, the miracle happened to the Jewish people. How come that the Syrian army was marching right through the desert, right through the Sinai desert? They almost reached to Eilat. What stopped them from taking Eilat? What was stopping them? Nothing. What was stopping them? Nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that wrote the chief of staff of the Egyptian army. He said, I cannot understand how I can just go and go and go through the desert, okay, the Sinai desert, and there is no resist. I was thinking that the Israeli actually planning an ambush on us. And I command the entire forces to stop from chasing. Do you listen to that? If that's not a miracle, what is a miracle? And that's the chief of staff of Egypt. So said the Mahahu, when you go into a war, don't think that you're fighting. The Torah tells us kititze, not when you're fighting with your enemy. Kititze, when you go into a war. What does it mean when you go into a war? You just have to go to a war. After that, it all depends on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu ish milchama, the Torah said. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to the Jewish people, I'm a man of war. You don't have to fight. Although that it looks like you're fighting, but you're not fighting. Because the chance that you're going to win a war, if you don't have people studying Torah, is zero. Zero. And 10 years ago, I saw an article, even more. I saw an article, a matter of fact, it was close to 20 years ago. I saw an article that and when I came to the country for the first 9 years, I was belong to the Israeli government. What it mean? I signed a contract with the Israeli government for 9 years because I was belong to the Israeli intelligence. And I used to follow quite often all the articles. And there, listen to that, there it was the chief of staff from all over the world. They have a conference, and I followed that conference, and I read in that time all the articles. And one of the conference, each chief of staff of every country spoke about the war that they had and the strategy that they use and how strong the nation and etc. One of the people that was there, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that he asked the question like this. I'm trying to be very specific about it. And he said, and he said to the chief of staff, I think that it was the chief of staff of United States at that time, he said to him, tell me something, how can you explain the war that the Jewish people fight, the states of Israel, that they're winning against the odds? The small nation, hardly have weapon, and look what they're winning. You know what the chief of staff of America say, of United States? He said, when it's come to Israel, there's no explanation. Please, Israel is above what we understand. The war that Israel, I cannot explain. It's above our understanding. That's from a Gentile chief of staff. And if he can understand that the war that the Jewish people fight and they win, it's not up to them, it's up to Akadosh Baruch Hu, because he said specifically, he says, that's beyond understanding. I cannot give an answer. How much we have to understand that the Jews. And that's what the Torah tells us. When you go into a war against your enemy, don't think that you're fighting. You know who's fighting? Akadosh Baruch Hu. You have to go to a war. You have to do your ishtadlut. You have to go inside the tank. You have to go to hold a weapon. You have to go and fly the jet fighter, and etc. But who's going to fight for you? That's what the Maharal explained. And now we can understand a little bit what it means, Ketetzela Milchama. Let's continue in verse 11. And in verse 11, we see something very interesting. וראית בשביה אשת יפת תואר וחשקת בה ולקחת לך לאישה.
And you will see among the captivities a woman who is beautiful of form, and you will desire her. You may take her to yourself for a wife. Okay,
here we explain in previous Shorim what is the connection between going to a war to a nice looking woman that one of the soldiers that go to a war have the desire to take her. So on a pshat of the Dvarim, we explain that the connection that this parsha, a matter of fact, this parsha speak about a rebellious son. And the Torah come to tell us, and Rashi actually bringing it, Rashi bring the Midrash Tanhuma there, that the connection is that when you go into a war, if a person married a woman for her physical look, because she's pretty, because she's nice, inevitably she'll bring him a rebellious son. That we explain, and we go into depths. I'm not here for it now. We explain also in previous showing that the Torah speak about the evil inclination, that he show you everything is nice, that before you do the sin, everything looks so nice. He give you this feeling that you desire it, but after that you feel that you regret that you've done the sins. That's what we explained in previous showing. But today I'm actually going to speak to you a bit in a deeper way. I'm going to speak more on a mystical level, more on a depth, what it means Eshet Yefat Toar. And I'm going to bring actually what Rabbi Chaim Vital say. Rabbi Chaim Vital bring the Zohar, the Zohar Hadash, and you'll see what's happening, how I'm going to build the show. First of all, Rabbi Chaim ben Attar, that's Or Chaim HaKadosh, he born in the city of Sali in Morocco 325 years ago. He wrote the famous commentary, Or Chaim HaKadosh, we call it HaKadosh. And he says, and he asked like this, he said that the Torah speaking about those soldiers that are going to war, and one of them saw a pretty woman. He said, I don't understand. The people that used to go to a war in that time, they used to be righteous people. And the Torah specifically say that. How can it be that the person that is so righteous that he doesn't have any averot, he doesn't sin, and he's going to a war against the enemy, in his mind, do you ever think that the righteous people like those will look at a woman that she looked pretty? He said, how can it be? What is the Torah come to tell us here? And we have to understand that what I'm going to tell you now, it's actually that what the Rabbi Haim Ben Attar asked that question. It's actually the question that's been asked in a Zohar Hadash. What is Zohar Hadash? What is the difference between the normal book of Zohar to Zohar Hadash? So first of all, the book of the Zohar did not been written by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It's been written by his student, Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba wrote the Zohar. But who told him what to write is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. That means the Zohar obviously belonged to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He didn't write it. Rabbi Abba wrote it. Rabbi Abba himself, he's the one that wrote it. Okay? That we have to understand. The Zohar Hadash, it's new commentary and new adding up that there is on the Zohar, okay, that it's mainly a little bit of Parshiot by mainly explanation to Megillat Ruth and Megillat Eicha. There, that's what he speaks. In Parashat Balak, in the Zohar Hadash, Parashat Balak, in page 53, it explains something important. And that's why Rabbi Haim Ben Attar bring. And he said like this, listen to that. He said that if you think Has v'Shalom, according to the Pshat of the Dvarim, that those righteous people will look at nice looking women and they will desire her, that's the Pshat of the Dvarim. But there is something more deeper. Something so deep that we have to understand. Say Rabbi Haim Ben Attar, and he bring the Zohar, and the Zohar explained that those righteous people, when they go to war, what are they going for? They're going to fight to defense. But we know that sometimes there is certain souls that have been captured by the Sitra Ahra. Sitra Ahra, it's a word that the Zohar uses, it's in Aramaic, and I will translate it now. Sitra Ahra, it's the other side. What it means, the other side? The evil forces, the negative forces, let's call them, the bad energy. Listen what it said. It said like this. It said, the Zohar said that there is certain souls that been born as a Gentile. That those certain souls, there's such a higher soul, such a higher level soul, that they cannot born as Jewish. They're born because the evil inclination, the Satan wouldn't allow them to come as Jewish. We'll speak about it just now. I will explain. He said like this. He said, if you take the soul of Ruth HaMoaviyah, Ruth was a Moabite. But from Ruth, if we didn't have Ruth, Rabota, we didn't have David HaMelech. Rabbi Akiva, his parents was convert. Onkelus Ager, Onkelus, that was a convert. He wrote commentary on the Torah. Rabbi Hananiah ben Taradion, the Zohar bring example. I brought the idea of Rabbi Akiva and Onkelus Ager. That was just to give you some idea that you can fit into it. Said the Zohar Kadosh that there is certain souls that the evil inclination, the Satan, actually hijacked them. And where they are, where he kept them in captivity, amongst the nation. And what's happening? Akadosh Baruch Hu saying those soldiers that they're righteous. And those soldiers can see with their holiness those special Eshet Yefat. What it means Yefat? Special soul. That those special soul that actually been hijacked. They in captivity. Who gonna release them? Only those beautiful who? Righteous. How they can release those beautiful souls? By that they have such a higher level of spirituality and they can see in the holiness which neshama is a great, big neshama. What do? They take that neshama out. They basically take it out of captivity, convert them, and from them come those high souls. That means that the Torah tells us something extraordinary and explain the Zohar. Ki tetzeh milhama, when you go into a war, v'ra'ita, and you saw in a war, okay, you saw in captivity. What does it mean in captivity? Not that you take her only in captivity. You saw that this soul is lying in captivity. Eshet Yefat Torah. What does it mean Yefat Torah? A special soul that it's beautiful. And you desire her. And you must take her out of their captivity. You must convert that soul, and you make that soul Jewish. That means Hazal tell us that there is certain souls that cannot come to the world as Jewish people. And we're going to explain now why. That's the second thing, the next stage that we're going to explain. That means that when those righteous go into captivity, the Torah tells us that when they going to release those souls, the beautiful soul, not speaking about physicality, speaking about a beautiful soul that have a high energy, like Ruta Moavia, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Hananiah ben Teradion, Onkelus Ager, those beautiful souls that unfortunately they've been captured by the evil inclination. And that's what it said, that when those soldiers go into war, they're not looking at physicality, has v'shalom. Has v'shalom. They're looking about the spirituality there is inside the soul of that. And that's what it means, Eshet Yefat Torah. The Yefat Torah is the beautiful soul that there is, the great soul, the great neshama that can come from that, the great potential. Now we can understand what does it mean that those soldiers that go into war and they see a beautiful soul, has v'shalom to think about physicality. Those righteous people that go into war, they don't have sin. They dare to capture what? To release the soul that is been hijacked and been taken by the Sitra Achra, by the other forces. The question now that we have to ask ourselves, and we have to understand, how come that those souls been hijacked, that they're not allowed to come as a Jewish neshama? That's the question that we have to ask. Why tzaddikim have to go? So the mystical Rabbi explained to us a beautiful answer. They explained to us, there is certain neshamot, certain souls, when they come to the world, the evil inclination, the Satan wouldn't allow them to come to the world. He will fight and he will do anything that those souls will not come to the world. So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? Because there is the freedom of choice, HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring those souls as a Gentile. And the Gentile allowed them to come down to the world. The Dugma, Rabbi Akiva, he come from Gerim. Ruth, that was a Moabite. Onkelus, you know who was Onkelus? We don't understand the power of Onkelus again, that he wrote commentary on the Torah. Rabbi Akiva, we spoke about him. Who was Rabbi Akiva? All the Torah that we have today is from Rabbi Akiva. Because after the plague, the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva died, the world was desolated. Hazal say. Until Rabbi Akiva gone to the south, and he given smicha to the 5 of his students. And from them started all the Torah that we have. Chazal explain like this, that the evil inclination, that it's Malach HaMavet, it's the angel of death, the evil inclination is the Satan, wouldn't allow them to come to the world. So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? Bringing them via the back door, to born as a Gentile. Later on, they get converted. They're already on earth. When they're born, the neshama is great neshama. That great neshama have the power and the energy now to spark the entire world. And that's why the Torah say, Eshet Yefat Torah, v'hashakta ba. What it means, Yefat Torah? It's a special soul that came to this world. But to take her out of captivity, how do you do that? Only certain people that can see the spark on that neshama, that help them to come out of captivity. Who can do that? Only tzaddikim. Now we can understand also why those souls cannot come as Jewish people, because the Malach HaMavet will fight with them, the angel of death. Okay, let's continue. And now we're going to go to chapter 22. Louis, chapter 22, verse. I'm going to chapter 22. I'm skipping because I think that I spoke a lot about the first verse. And in chapter 22, verse 1, the Torah tells us like this. לא תראה את שור אחיך או את שאו נידחים והתעלמת מהם, השב תשיבם לאחיך.
You shall not see the ox of your brother or his sheep or his goat cast off, and hide yourself from them. You shall surely return them to your brother.
Okay, here we see that the Torah speak, according to the Pshat of the Dvarim, the Torah speak about mitzvat hashavat aveda. What it means? Returning the lost object. We see here that the Torah tells us that if you see the ox of your brother or some of his flock, you're obligated to return him. But really, Rabotai, when the last we saw a lost ox or a lost sheep or goats and etc., where did we see it? You don't see it. This is on Pshat of the Dvarim. But I saw a beautiful commentary that I quote from that book. And that's the book called Doresh Tzion. Doresh Tzion is a book that's been written by Harav Ben Tzion Mutzafi Shalita. Shehyeh le'amin tovim, bri'im v'shlemim. Harav Ben Tzion Shalita have an organization, not organization, he have a yeshiva that's called Doresh Tzion. That's the name. And he wrote the book on Parashat Shavua. And quite often I quote from there. And he explained that not according to the Pshat of the Dvarim. Sorry. He explained that on a mystical level. He explained that there is certain thing that sometimes you and me or many other people see that our fellow brothers actually losing something. What are they losing? They start losing the spirituality. That's me, that we see them actually collapsing in the spirituality. The same like we have an obligation, listen to that, to return a physical object that's been lost to his own owner. We have an obligation to return our brothers that gone off the rail. What does it mean? We have an obligation that if we see someone that unfortunately he lost his derech, lost his way, doesn't keep mitzvot, doesn't want to do anything, we have an obligation to take that person, his soul, the spiritual soul, and bring it back to the roots. And that's a Shavat Aveda. That means, say Rav Ben Tzion Mutzafi, that the same like you have a mitzvah to return a physical object to his owner, you have also a mitzvah to work on those souls that you see them lost, to return them back to who? To the Father in heaven. That means that they're not going to lose their soul forever. That means that you have an obligation if you see someone that going off the derech, what we call it, going off the rail, taking the wrong routes, following other religion, not keeping Shabbos, to try to do it in a nice, in a beautiful manner, to bring him back to Yiddishkeit. And that's what the Torah speaks, not about only physically. Physically is the pshat of the dvarim. But you have to understand that if you see your fellow brother that he doesn't understand, nicely, peacefully, to try to bring him back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to return that soul back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because all the soul come from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that Jewish soul belong to who? To HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means make sure that you're connecting them together. But that have to be only nice way, not to throw stone on people that drive on Shabbat. That's no one agree. No one agree. No Rabbonim in Eretz Israel agree to stone people that are driving on Shabbat, because a stone is muktzah, Rabotai. To pick up a stone and to throw, where is it written? There's some people that, okay. It's Chodesh Elul, I can't criticize, I don't like. But I have to explain that if you see someone that's gone off the rail, it's our obligation to make sure that we're returning his soul to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he will understand the Yiddishkeit, to bring him closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to show him the beauty of our Torah. Let's continue, and we're going now to speak about the mitzvah that we have is to sending the mother bird. And in verse 7, the Torah tells us like this. שלח תשלח את האם ואת הבנים תיקח לך למען ייטב לך וארכת ימים.
You shall surely send away the mother and take the young for yourself, so that it will be good for you and you will prolong your days.
Okay, here we see that we have a mitzvah from the Torah that to send the mother birds and to take the birds. On a pshat of the dvarim, this is one of the simple mitzvot that we have, very simple. And the Torah promises that if you keep that mitzvah will guarantee you long life, peaceful life. We have to understand what the Torah speaks. That's on a pshat of the dvarim. On a deeper meaning, Chazal explained that, a matter of fact, this mitzvah, when you fulfill this mitzvah, sending the mother birds, you actually waking up the character trait of mercy and compassion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu towards the Jewish people, that immediately he should redeem us. Why? When we take the mother, that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we chase her away, and we take the birds, it's to wake up the merciful and the compassion feeling of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to what's happened to us Jews. That we actually been taken to exile, and we now in exile. So to wake up the mercy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what we explained in previous Shorim in depth. I'm just doing it very shortly. But I saw a beautiful commentary that brought on Midrash Rabbah, on Parashat Dvarim. It's a Midrash Rabbah on Parashat Dvarim, on our Parsha, in Parshiyah Vav, that means chapter 6, verse 2. Listen what Chazal say. Chazal say like this. Chazal say, הקדוש ברוך הוא לא גילה מתן שכרם של מצוות חוץ משני מצוות אלה, שהם כיבוד אב ואם ושילוח הקר. I will translate. Chazal in the Midrash say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't reveal us the rewards of every mitzvah except these two. That means if you chase the mother bird away, and if you respect and you honor your parents, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us that in that merit, you'll have a long life. Pashut, arichut yamim. The Torah come and teach us a great idea that hiding behind it. I saw beautiful, the Midrash say, that the Torah come and tell us that from one way it's given us mitzvat kibud avaim, from the other way shiluah haken. Kibud avaim, honoring your parents, respecting your parents. The second mitzvah shiluah haken, that's sending the mother bird. And say Hazal something extraordinary. If you take these two mitzvot, you see completely different. Why? Because to honor your parents and to respect your parents, it's one of the most difficult mitzvah, if not the difficult mitzvah, that there is in the Torah to fulfill. The difficult mitzvah. Kibud avayim. But from the other way, the Torah brings us a simple mitzvah, easy mitzvah. What is it? That if you walk and you see a strange bird that not belong to you, that means it's a foreign bird to you, you hold the mother, okay? And with two hands, and then you release it to the air, to freedom. And the bird, the babies, you take to yourself, okay? The chick, you take to yourself, okay? So one mitzvah, it's the most difficult, if not that difficult mitzvah that we have in the Torah. But from the other way, the Torah brings us a simple mitzvah, an easy mitzvah, and she's telling us that in both of those mitzvah, if you've done those two mitzvot, if you fulfill them, you're entitled for a long life. What is the idea here? The idea here, Hazal said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to tell you that you must not gonna look for difficult mitzvot, that you think that because this mitzvah is very difficult, the reward for her, it's more than a simple mitzvah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and tell you that here I showed you, and I'm giving you two mitzvot, that one is very difficult, if not that difficult mitzvah that we have in the Torah. From the other way, I'm giving you a mitzvah that is one of the easiest mitzvah that we have in the Torah, and they both have the same merit. What is the merit? Long life. So it's come to teach us that a person should not think and not try to search which mitzvah can get more reward and which mitzvah not. So I'll do the mitzvot only that I get more reward. Chas v'shalom. You must do all the mitzvot that it's written in the Torah. That's Midrash Rabbi on Sefer Dvarim. But now I'm going to do a kushia with your permission. What is mean a kushia? Kushia, I'm going to ask question or what I answer. And Hazal say, wait, I don't understand. In previous parsha that we read, in Parashat Shoftim, if you remember in chapter 17, verse 20, the Torah tells us there is one of the mitzvot that the king obligated to do. A king obligated not to have many wives, not to have many horses, lo yarbe lo nashim, lo yarbe lo susim, velo yarbe lo kesef v'zahav. What it means, kesef v'zahav? Money and silver. That means that a king not allowed to have a lot of wealth. And if a king kept those three mitzvot, that means doesn't have a lot of wife, doesn't take a lot of wife, doesn't have a lot of horses, and doesn't have a lot of wealth, the Torah guarantee him long life. But the Midrash say only two. Now, here's a proof that there is another mitzvah. I saw a beautiful answer that bring Rav Ben Zion Muchafi. He bringing it in his book in the name of the book that's called Ma'adanei Melech. And he said like this. He said, Rav Muchafi bringing it in the name of the book that's called Ma'adanei Melech, the rabbi that wrote that book. And he said, what the Torah tells us, that there is only two mitzvot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu revealed to us, that the rewards that you're going to get if you fulfill them, the first two mitzvot kibud avaim v'shiluach haken, a long life, it's not like if a king having a long life. What's the difference between them? He said what the Torah spoke about, that if you fulfill the mitzvah of kibud avaim, if you fulfill the mitzvah of sending the mother birds, the Torah guarantee you that you have a long life, but not only a long life, good life, a peaceful life. The Torah guarantee the king that if he keep those three mitzvot, not to have too many wives, not to take too many wives, not to have many horses, not to have a lot of money and silver, kesef v'zahav, a lot of wealth, he have a long life. But the Torah doesn't guarantee him that he have a peaceful life. The Torah doesn't guarantee that he have a good life. You may be going to have a long life as a king. And we see many kings, many people that have a lot of treasure, many wives, they have only chorus from it. You'll have a long life, yes, but chorus you'll have for sure. The Torah come and tell us and reveal to us that if you send the mother birds, if you respect and you honor your parents, not only that you have a good, you have a long life, you'll have a good life. That means tranquility life, peace and harmony. The Torah guarantee to us. That's how they explain. And that's how we solve the kushiyah, the question that we have about what it's mentioned in a previous parsha, when a king that doesn't have those three things, didn't take a lot of wife, didn't have a lot of horses, and doesn't have a lot of wealth, he'll have a long life. But peace and tranquility, the Torah doesn't guarantee him. Now we can understand. Let's move on to verse 10 in chapter 23, verse 10. Louis, chapter 23, verse 10.
Okay, I'm ready.
So the Torah there tells us something very interesting, and we have to understand what's happening here. And Be'ezrat Hashem, today I try to reveal with you the merit of a Jewish woman. The merit of a Jewish woman. You'll see now. כי תצא מחנה על אויביך ונשמרת מכל דבר רע. Listen to
When
that.
a camp goes out against your enemies, you shall guard against anything evil.
What it means you shall guard against anything evil. Rashi HaKadosh, listen what Rashi says. Rashi, it's Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki. Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, Rashi, if you take the acronym of the word Rashi, Resh, Shin, Yud, Rabbam Shel Israel, the rabbi of all the Jewish people. And Rashi HaKadosh, born in the city of Troa. Troa is the north of France. He born 981 years ago. And he said like this, Shehasatan mekatreg b'shat hasakana. What does it mean? That means that the Satan actually criticizes in a time of danger. And we have to understand what is he speaking about. And I saw a beautiful commentary of Rabbi David Nahmias. Rabbi David Nahmias, born 189 years ago. He born in Morocco. I'm not sure which city. It's not sure where he born. And he said, if you take the acronym of Mahaneh, that is a tent, okay? It's Mem, Het, Nun, Hey. It says you're going to get an acronym of mitzvot, 3 mitzvot, okay, that the woman obligated to do. What is it? It's mitzvot hala for het, nun for nida, hey for hadlaka. We'll explain now. It's a mitzvot hala. We have a mitzvah that a woman, when she bake her own hala over 1 kilo 560, let's round it to 1 kilo 600 gram, okay, she have to do hafrashat hala, to separate a little bit, certain amount of hala, to take it out from the big dough, to burn it or to wrap it with a piece of plastic and to throw it to the dustbin. So no one will benefit from it. That's called hala, hafrashat hala. The second mitzvah that we say, it's nida. What it means, nida? It's the family purity that the woman obligated to make sure that she keep. The third one, hadlaka, on Friday night, Yom Tov, to light the Shabbos candle. Say Rabbi David Nahmias, something extraordinary. He said that the Torah here hinting to us from Ki tetzeh machane al oivecha, when you're going against the camp of your enemy, you have to guard yourself from anything bad. He said that the word mahane come to hint to you and to tell you, in the merit of the Jewish woman can guard her family from anything bad to happen. That means if the Jewish woman keep those three mitzvot that they are halakha, nida, and hadlaka, that means to separate from the dough a little bit, certain amount of from the dough that she took, as long that it's over 1 kilo 600, I'm rounding the figures, to keep the purity of the family, to light candles of Shabbos. He said the Torah guarantee you that in the merit of those three mitzvot, the Jewish woman actually can avoid any bad thing happen to her family. That means any sickness, any trouble, any chorus, to guard her family from every problem. He said that the Torah come in hinting to you that here, the Jewish woman is so important, that the Jewish woman can guard and secure and protect her own family. In what? In the merit of three mitzvot that we mentioned. That's why it's a mahane. Let's move to chapter 24, and with that we're going to end up with the parsha, and then we'll move to the haftarah. Chapter 24 in verse 9. Chapter 24, verse 9. Sorry, where I am. Chapter 4, 9. Chapter 24, 9. And here we see something very interesting. The Torah tells us, Zechor et asher asa Adonai Elohecha leMiriam b'derech b'chetchem miMitzrayim.
Remember what Hashem, your God, did for Miriam on the way when you were leaving Egypt.
Okay, here the Torah tells us on Pshat Dvarim that the Akadosh Baruch Hu commands us to remember what he done to Miriam. What happened with Miriam? And the commentary that I'm going to bring is the commentary of the Ramban. The Ramban, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman. Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, born in a city of Catalonia. Catalonia is a city in Spain. He born 827 years ago. He was after the Rambam, okay, by 60 years, Rabotai, or 59 years to be accurate. The great eagle, the Rambam, the Nachmanite, okay, he was a doctor. And also the Ramban, the Maimonite that was a great eagle, he was a doctor. And the Nachmanite also was a doctor. The both was doctor. And say Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman like this. He said that the Torah, from this verse, the Torah come to teach us that there is a negative command to speak Lashon Hara. The same like the Torah tell us that there is a positive command to keep the Shabbos, and etc., to lay tefillin, all the mitzvot that it said that the Lashon Hara, it's a negative command from the Torah. He said that the Torah come and tell us that you must remember, Kadosh Baruch Hu tell you, that the prophet Miriam, that she was the sister of Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron, and she loved Aaron. She saved his life. We all know. But she suggests to put them in the ark on a now. And after that, she was standing and watching and guarding Moshe Rabbeinu until we know the story with Batia, Bat Paro. We don't have time for it now because the time is late. It says, the Rambam said that here HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and tell you, as much that Miriam was a holy woman And as much that she loved her brother and her brother loved her, and she saved them. All the mitzvot that she done. The well of Miriam, that the Jewish people for the 40 years in the wilderness have water, is in the merit of Miriam. But because she spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu, face to face, not in public, and there was Aaron with her, and she tried to tell him, how can you leave your wife? That was Lashon Hara, she been punished. It's come to tell you, Rabotai, something extraordinary. It's come to tell you that the person have to be careful when he speaks Lashon Hara about other people. And I'm speaking for myself. You all tzaddikim, I'm speaking for me. How much I have to be careful with Lashon Hara. And sometimes you just whoop, come out without even wanting. Or sometimes you get cross with someone and you embarrass them in public. How much we have to be careful with our tongue. And we don't sometimes take notice of it. It just came out. I'm speaking for myself. That's what the Torah come and tell us. That even a woman that was a prophet, Miriam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't show favors, did it? When it's come to punish because she spoke Lashon Hara, she been punished. How much we have to be careful. Now we're going to move to the Haftarah. The Haftarah that we're going to read this Shabbos, it's Haftarah, the fifth Haftarah of comfort, and we try to understand. And we're starting this idea of the Haftarah because the member of the Shiur, Orna, asked us if we can speak. And the Haftarah that we're going to read this week is the fifth Haftarah, the fifth comfort Haftarah that come from the prophet Yeshayahu. And the prophet Yeshayahu say in chapter 14, verse 1. In this Haftarah, we have 10 verses. That's all very short Haftarah. Can take virtually 5 minutes to finish this Haftarah if a person read it. And it says like this, Runi akara lo yalada, pitzhi rina v'tzahali lo hala ki rabim b'nei shomema mibnei be'ula amar Adonai.
Sing out, O barren one, who has not given birth. Break out in a glad song and be jubilant on one that who has not labored pains. For the children of the desolate Jerusalem outnumbers the children of the inhabitable city, said Hashem.
Okay. We see here that the Torah speak about a barren woman, the prophet. And Hazal asked, where do you see here, where do you talk about comfort? You're speaking about barren woman, you compare it to Jerusalem, it's barren. What's the connection? And Be'ezrat Hashem, today we try to understand. So Hazal in a Gemara in Masechet Brachot in page 10, folio 1, say, you know, what is it say, Lo Yalada, that she is a barren, she couldn't give a birth. It's mean that it's speaking about a woman that's singing. Why is she singing? Hazal speaking about Knesset Israel, that they have to sing, the Jewish people have to sing, that regarding a barren woman, because she didn't give a birth to children. Why? Because Chas v'Shalom, if she would give a birth to her children, they would go to Gehenna. So that's why she doesn't speak about the children. Another explanation to connect it to Jerusalem, because the main idea here that he's speaking about a desolated city, that the city of Jerusalem is desolated. That means the city of Jerusalem is like a barren. That means we know that a barren woman, the same like the city of Jerusalem, the barren woman, it's the same, the city of Jerusalem. What is the connection? Hazal explain a so beautiful commentary that Hazal bring, that the same like a barren woman, she's a lonely woman, and Jerusalem is also lonely. Why? Because after the exile of all the Jewish people, Jerusalem stand like a barren with no one, no kids, no children. That's what's the connection to Jerusalem. So where's the comfort? And we have to understand where's the comfort. That's what the Mefarshim ask. The Mefarshim say that here Akadosh Baruch Hu actually comforts Yerushalayim. Listen what it says. Akadosh Baruch Hu comforts Yerushalayim, but he said to her, now you may be like a barren, but will come a day that you're not going to be barren anymore. Why? Because in verse 2, look what it says. Archivi makom. Ohalaich, v'yiraot mishkanach yitu. Al tahshochi, ha'arichi meitaraich, ve'itodaich haski. Verse 2, Louis.
Broaden the place of your tent and stretch out the curtains of your dwelling. Slits not. Lengthen your cord and strengthen your pegs.
It says that you have to understand that the comfort here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised, said the prophet, that you have to expand your boundary. What it means, your tent, your boundary. That means one day HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised Yerushalayim that the children will return. And we see it. The children returning back to Eretz Israel. Eretz Israel, the Zohar say, Atida להתרחב, Yerushalayim Atida להתרחב al kol Eretz Israel. That means that the city of Jerusalem going to extend a boundary over all the land of Eretz Israel. וארץ ישראל עתידה להיות על כל העולם כולו. That means that the land of Eretz Israel going to expand the boundary and going to expand so big that all over the world. That means that the prophet come and tell us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised that the children will return. But you must prepare your tent. That means prepare your houses, extend your houses, extend your boundary. That means that the comfort come to tell us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell the city of Jerusalem, Nachon, that your children left. They're gone to exile because they sin. In Bet HaMikdash HaRishon, then in the second temple. But I promise you that your children will return to you and you're not going to be barren. Because at the moment you're desolated. But will come a day that you're not going to be desolated. Will come a day that you have to actually expand your tent. That means your boundary, build more houses. And Baruch Hashem, Rabotai, we see it in our own eyes. The city of Jerusalem get extended, get built, and more people coming to the land of Eretz Israel, more people settling in Jerusalem. Baruch Hashem. We see Shivat Zion, we see it in our own eyes. And Be'ezrat Hashem, I would like to bless all of you that we should all merit that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send Mashiach Tzidkenu and will build Bet HaMikdash speedily in our day. Amen, Ken Yehi Ratzon. All the best.
Amen.
Rabotai, if anyone would like to ask question regarding the Parsha, I will try and answer if I can. Those that have questions.
Hello, it's Anthony Furman. How are you?
Shalom Alechem, Anthony. How are you?
All right, how are you? All right, thanks. Why is this Parsha's got the most mitzvahs? How many mitzvahs are in this week's Parsha?
Because you didn't join us at the beginning of the Sheol, but for you, I will return. Will explain like this. There is 24 positive commands, and there is 47 negative commands. Together, if you put them together, you'll see that you have 74 mitzvot that the Torah speaks.
Thanks very much. And also the mitzvah of the wayward son it never happens in real life. The wayward and rebellious son. So why does it mention it in the Torah?
Okay. So Hazal in the Gemara, we explained that say that Ben Sorer Umore lo haya. That's never been exist. That's what you're referring to.
Yes.
But Hazal explained that it's not was happen, it never happened, it will never. But it's not so simple, Zelo Pashut, because some refer it to Avshalom, the son of David, because David, I saw it the other day, I read about it in a book that, what is it called? Yarom ירום ליבנו, I think, if I'm not mistaken. כל האומר דבר בשם אומרו מביא גאולה לעולם. אמרי נועם, in a book of אמרי נועם, I have it here. I read it there. אמרי נועם is a book that's been written by Rav Yoram Abarshel. We explain he born in the south of Israel. He lived in the south of Israel in kibbutz, in Moshav Brosh, not kibbutz, Chaz v'shalom, Moshav Brosh. And he explained like this, that the matter of fact that what we're speaking about, Avshalom, that was the son of David HaMelech, that he referring to Ben Sorer Umore. Why? Why Dafka Ben Sorer Umore? Because David HaMelech, where come Avshalom? Avshalom come from Bathsheba. You remember? And David HaMelech, if they wouldn't say it, I would keep my mouth sealed. Because you ask me, and we have a mitzvah to explain, so it say like this, that David HaMelech, he had the eyes on Bathsheba. And he took Bathsheba, that when a husband gone to war, he married her. Came from that, what came? Avshalom. That was a rebellious son that destroyed his kingdom, caused a lot of sorrows. And although all of that, David HaMelech loved him. Okay, so according to one opinion, like you say, and I agree with you, Ben Sorer Umore, Hazal explained in the Gemara, Lo haya velo haya, never happened and will never be. And why? Because Hazal explained, what is Ben Sorer Umore? It's only for 3 months, from the age of 13 years old, when he get bar mitzvah, until 13 and 3 months. לא שומע בכל אביו ואמו, that his father and his mother have to have the same voice, the same ideas, the same mind all the time. It's hardly happen. But there is another connection, another opinion that bring that it was Avshalom, that the Torah speak about Avshalom. You follow Anthony? Anthony?
I think he muted himself.
Okay, he muted himself. Okay, good. Any other question? Mark, you wanted to ask
Thanks.
a question.
Thanks.
Pleasure. Wanted to ask a question.
No, I just wanted to say thank you very much. It was a great show.
Thank
And
you.
a very,
Thank you.
a very novel idea about the woman who's captive in war. I've never
Captivity,
heard that
yeah.
explanation before, and I think it's very interesting indeed. Thank you very much.
Good. I hope that you're enjoying Eretz Israel. You're having a wonderful time in Eretz Israel. You
Yep.
and Janet.
We're still in
Please
Bidut.
enjoy. You're still in Bidut, but not for a long time. The Bidut is going to be finished soon.
It should be out in a day.
That's what I'm saying. Then enjoy Eretz HaKodesh. You'll enjoy the grandchildren. You'll enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Rob.
And
all the
please-
best to you and your family. Have a great Shabbos.
Amen. I would like to wish all of you a great Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, that you're all going to enjoy the Shabbos. Enjoy your Shabbos. Look after yourself. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should see you again on Sunday. We'll do another show on Sunday night. Yes, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
All the best.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Thank you very much.
חזק וברוך, כבוד הרב.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.